Hey guys and girls, here we are back once again from onestoptutorials.com. My name's Ali Baba and we're going to be doing something pretty damn funky today. We're going to be using the paint bucket tool, and we're going to be using a few more options inside the paint bucket tool than a lot of people think are available. Okay, so first thing first, I'm going to show you what the normal way of using the paintbrush, or the way that most people probably use the paintbrush tool. I'm just going to make a new document and just make it bigger. And the way you would normally do it is select the paint bucket tool. Now if you can't see it and you can just see this icon, just simply hold down the left and choose the paint bucket, or hit G on your keyboard. Okay, and what we're going to do with this one, the normal way would be just to hover the cursor inside, left click, and it would, let me just quickly left click, and it would just change to the color of the foreground. Now what we're going to do here is we're just going to make a couple of rectangular marquee tools, and I'm going to show you the shortcut keys to get the foreground and background color. Now if you want to fill the marquee tool, if you want to fill it with the foreground color, then all you need to do is hold down Alt, and then you need to hit backspace, and that will fill it in with the foreground color. And if you want to fill it in with the background color, you simply hold down Alt again, you simply hold down Control, and then hit backspace, and that will fill it with the background color. Okay, so it's Alt backspace for foreground, Control backspace for background. And a way to flick between these foreground and background colors is to click X on your keyboard, and that's the shortcut between both. Also, let's say you had a color selected and you wanted to get back to black and white, you could either click on here, or you could just hit D on your keyboard, and that will bring it back to black and white. So that's the way you normally use the paint bucket tool. I like to use shortcuts. I just love shortcut keys. When you're in the zone and you're getting into things, shortcut keys are just easier. I'm going to close this document and bring up these orchids that my wife took. This is I think it was an orchid festival in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and we just went along, and there was some bonsai trees. There was a bit of everything there. There was a lot of Mr. Miyagi trees, and she happened to take a picture of these, and these are perfect for what we want to do with the paint bucket right now. So if we select the paint bucket again, hold down there, you'll notice again, like we do in most tools, have a few options at the top here, and we're going to go through one by one to show you what they do. First is the modes, and in this tutorial we're going to use a mode. We're probably going to use the soft light mode, so we'll come back in a second. Then you have the opacity and tolerance, which we've been over before, and then you have the anti-alias, the contiguous, and then the all layers. So I'm going to go through one by one. Okay, this is what they do. When you with the paint bucket selected, and we probably click on the foreground, and let's make a red. Watch what happens when I click this flower. You notice it all goes red. Okay, if I click here, it goes red. It goes red. And what the system is doing, it's basically picking up anything that's purple. Now the reason it's not picking up all of the purple flowers is because we have this box checked here, this contiguous. If we took the contiguous, unchecked the contiguous, left click on the mouse, it now picks up anything that is purple on the page because the system recognizes it. So that's what contiguous does. Okay, it just simply, you can choose a selection like this flower's on its own. We could click on that. No, this one here must be, there isn't one just sitting on its own. Maybe this one, it's connected to them all. Okay, so this one here, this area is bunched together, that's why it's selecting that. This one here is on its own, that's why it's selecting that. And if we took contiguous off and clicked, it would select everything that's purple. Okay, so you sure you understand that one. And the anti-alias is just simply gives us smoother color. Right, the tolerance, what we have a choice of, we could do, if I bring this to the max, and you do that by hovering your mouse over the word tolerance and just drag to the right for more, drag to the left for less. You see the two arrows. I'm going to max it out. Watch what happens when I left click. It's just taking everything. Everything is red. Doesn't matter. It's not selecting the purple. Everything is red. And obviously, if you brought the tolerance too low, let's say 2, you'll notice if I zoom in, you're just picking up little specks here and there. So again, it's good to get the tolerance to that perfect area, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to bring it up to about 90. Okay. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a mode, and this mode is called soft light. And the way this works is basically when we do the same thing that we've been doing, so we want contiguous, and we left click, do you see what happened? The color of the flowers changed to this more reddy purple, and that's because we have the soft light selected. We have many more in here. We could do let's try overlay. When we left click, it brings out that sort of darker, it's overlaying the darker. What else can we do? Lighten, left click, again you get that same effect but lighter. Okay, so modes, you can really change a lot of stuff in this with modes. Color burn, it's probably going to make it darker and aggressive, you see, depending on the effect that you're looking for. I mean, that's quite funky. You could use that for something. What else we got here? Linear burn, it's going to be a similar approach. Lighten we just did. What about lighter color? No, it doesn't seem to be using that mode. Hard light, and it's just really heavy on the reds. Okay, so play around with it, find something to use and just play around with it. And remember, you can bring the opacity down, so we could bring the opacity to 50 and do the same thing, and it's not so harsh. So if we did that with the soft light and we come over here, you see that's, let me just, this is it at 53%, and then if I move this up to 100%, you notice the difference. It's just darker to lighter. Okay, that's 100%, and this is 37%, and it's just lighter. Okay, so you could really do some nice effects, and to be honest, you know, I never knew you could do that with the paint bucket. I always did it the old way, where you open a file, just paint it in, and I thought that's all the paint bucket ever did. But you can get some nice stuff if you're using the modes and you're playing with some of these settings up here. You can really come up with some nice effects. And this one here is basically foreground and background, foreground and pattern, sorry. So you can choose pattern, and then you just choose from your pattern palette. Let's say we wanted this one, and when you clicked, you would get a, let's bring the opacity back up, you'd get a pattern effect. Let me bring it back to normal. Okay, you get, let's try another one, let's try a bit of fire. You get that fire look, and you can keep clicking. Okay, so it all depends what, like I say, what effect you're trying to do. I generally just use the foreground and then add these with these settings here, just play around and get the look I want. So that's how you use the paint bucket tool. A bit more involved than we maybe thought. My name is Ali Baba. I thank you for watching these video tutorials. I'm getting a lot of people interested in these video tutorials, and I will keep doing them, because there was a day once that I couldn't do Adobe. I didn't know what I was doing in Adobe Photoshop. The whole program confused me. So hang in there, you'll be there eventually. Just keep watching these video tutorials, subscribe to my YouTube, or leave your comments below, and I will catch you at the next video tutorial. Be there. Take it easy, guys and girls.